Good morning, everyone, and welcome. This is Joe Scarice, founder and host of the Creative Bird Strategy House and podcast, and I'm here to hopefully provide some great new education, strategy, and opportunities. So let's get started here, and we'll get rolling. Uh, Give me just a few minutes to get myself assembled here, and I think it's we try, like I said, we're always trying to tackle different subjects, and we also forget sometimes about personal development. And I think that's very important when it comes to being a real estate professional. And I think today's discussion, practicing your elevator pitch as a real estate pro, I think is important. And I think we sometimes kind of forget about it, and lose sight in it in what we are in perfecting our craft and who we are and what we do. And I think this is very important. And it's not always about talking about just who we are and what we do. It's about our why. And I think the elevator pitch is extremely important to how you get yourself across with others. In the what I'll call the mortal combat the mortal combat of networking. A lot of people are not natural born extroverts. They have the characteristics of a true introvert, and it's a battle. It's not easy to People think it's easy to be out there and talking with people and having frank discussions, and it's not easy for some people. It's very uncomfortable, and I think there's definitely a force feeder into becoming that true real estate professional, being comfortable in your skin and understanding how to put out that elevator pitch. So we're going to dive into that this morning. First, I want to take some thanks to some of our individuals that have been so just part of this event and movement from the beginning, and I want to thank them. Our sponsors first. We'll start off with the sponsors. I'd like to thank Perkatech, which is Yordell Perkins, our social media strategist. He provides our social media services. He provides graphic artwork. He provides the podcasting. Does a lot of blog work with me. We have a lot of great strategy discussions. Great person having your power team. I'd like to thank Realty 411, Ms. Linda Plagas, who provides national events throughout the country, whether it's in Dallas, LA, Fort Lauderdale, Chicago, New York, Philadelphia, and LA. She's there collaborating with the Creative Birth Strategies Club and podcast in providing education and networking and hopefully some opportunities. So I'd like to thank her, of course, and then our unsecured business line of credit referral partner, MB Capital. I've been working with MB Capital as a referral partner for a decade. I have personal friends with the owner, where we go back 18 years. Very integrous group of providing unsecured business lines of credit for real estate professionals, business to business individuals as well. And then Lendmark Capital, your asset-based lender, licensed in all 50 states, providing asset-based lending in the single family through a 25-unit environment, fixed to rent, fixed to flip, new construction, refinance purchase, debt service coverage ratio. Here to provide insight and growth and pivoting and strategy with real estate professionals throughout the country. So, and again, I want to thank also our engaged listeners, whether it's on live on YouTube, Facebook, Audible, Apple, Spotify, LinkedIn, Twitter. I mean, we're everywhere now at this point, thanks to Perkatech, and we're punching through. We're doing what we're doing, and we're tackling subject matter that I feel is important for all our personal growth, whether it's from the real estate side or the personal side. I think it's very, very important. I think today's discussion, whether you like it or not, is a part of the fabric of being a better real estate professional. Being the perfect networker starts with the elevator pitch as a real estate pro. So I think this is something that should hit home for a lot of people. If it doesn't, this too shall pass. So before we get into the going of things, I see a new picture from Mr. Joseph Martella. Joseph, why don't you give us a little insight to this grand picture of you signing the bankruptcy paperwork for you on your portfolio. What's going on there?
The bankruptcy paperwork. Unfortunately, I couldn't have Cookie Monster or the Grinch present at time of closing, but that's me closing on my last rental on Friday.
Where was boss?
So, uh, boss was taking a break. He was taking a snooze.
Oh my gosh. So let's walk us through the experience before we dive into our subject. I know it'll be a little pivot, but I think it's important because I think people need to know that the people that are up here or people are willing to come up here, I always like to talk about their transactions and highlight.
Yeah, I mean, never walked anybody through an experience before, right? But I don't know. I just bought a rental property, right? And it's number 7 on the line. But there were several negotiations that went through the way. This property I actually bought fair market value, which investors generally think that they need to have a major discount in order for a property to work. Um, and that just wasn't the case for this. He did have tenants in there that were paying well below market rent, uh, about $800 a month below market rent, which just didn't make sense on the offer price. So negotiating um, with the seller, was able to get it. I paid fair market value with it delivered vacant, giving him the time that he needed to get it delivered vacant, and also delivering it rent ready, which ultimately wasn't done, but also negotiated not a discount off the price, but cash towards repairs of what would make it rent ready, as well as an agreement for me to have access to the property well before closing in order to have it marketable. So, you know, Justin can tell you the construction always takes more time than expected. So I didn't get the ultimate result that I wanted with the crew just being delayed a little bit with materials and time. But I had early access. I had the work done. I'm at least 3 days ahead of the process. So that'll be 3 days more. I have some showings today while it's still on the, I wouldn't say call it constructions, being painted, and I have the new appliances that are waiting to be hooked up. But I have 3 showings today. I'll be doing it while I'm on Clubhouse a little bit, but I'm hoping to get it rented for May 15th and do a little prorated rent before that first mortgage payment is due. So I'll have some little income before that, and then for June 1st, when the first mortgage payment's due, I'll be ready to go.
Congratulations, Joe. Always looking forward to hearing about 8, 9, and 10 coming up, hopefully in the near future. So diving into our discussion this morning, years ago, it's got to be close to at least a decade ago, I met a gentleman who had a presentation on being the perfect networker, working the room correctly at a networking event. But I think before you even get into perfecting networking, you really need to perfect what is an elevator pitch and why do I need one, right? So an elevator pitch is a brief, think 30-second way of introducing yourself, getting across key point or two, and making a connection with somebody. It's called an elevator pitch because it takes roughly the same amount of time you'd spend riding an elevator with somebody if you happen to bump into someone you've been dying to meet in the elevator. How will you introduce yourself, get your point across, and ask to stay connected, all before that person gets off the elevator? Elevator pitches are handy to have in mind anytime you're at an event where you might meet prospective job opportunities or networking connections. So in our real estate space, it's about the networking with the right type of person. So how do you create this elevator pitch? Number one is, who am I? A brief list of ways of describing yourself, trying to create a tailored list appropriate to the audience you expect to be addressing. Number two, what do I do? This is a part where you get to focus on the item or two. Remember, you only have 30 seconds. Okay, so you want to keep it really to the point that you want the person to be remember you. You want to be able to have that follow up and they go, oh yeah, I remember you. What are your skills? What are your experiences that you drive your career focus? How can you make that connection with that person? Help them understand what your priorities and goals to work with them in one way or another. You got to have values. You have to have passion about it. When I go to a networking event, any networking event, I'm typically there 15 to 30 minutes early. I want to be the first one in, and I want to get to meet everybody as they're walking in and making proper introductions. And then I want to also introduce those individuals to others because I took the time to know who they are, and now I'm going to hand off a quality lead to somebody else that might not have that comfort level in the event. But I'm doing the right thing from an integrous perspective. Number three, what's my ask? It's important to end by asking a question. The question might be as simple as a request for advice or sharing information. It might also include a request to keep connected. The follow-up is key, by the way. Connecting on LinkedIn, sending a thank you email, maybe a follow-up phone call. 48 to 72 hours, that skillet is still warm. Now you got to depend whether it's going to be a sizzle or it's going to kind of just be something to move along. So these are, keep it brief, target your pitch to the event you're attending. Practice as well. Have an ask and follow up is key with your 30-second elevator pitch. Justin, good morning. How are you? Brief overview who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion this morning. Practice your elevator pitch as a real estate pro. Justin, going once. Justin, going twice.
Man, I was scratching to that button, man.
Yeah, it's all good.
Preparing a little bit of our favorite breakfast, but yeah, Joe. As far as your elevator pitch, I'm sitting here thinking about what you're saying, and as far as I'm concerned, I like to go into to rooms with kind of like on a mission. So I've had this little epiphany lately that I'm gonna pull back out my wholesaling skill set and just try a few things, not open up shop as a wholesaler, right? Just do a couple of deals and stuff like that to help myself along, and maybe turn into some other opportunities. Because usually that conversation turns into other things, right? And I find the best part of always practice, exercising the practice of reaching out to those sellers and distressed sellers and stuff like that. Because you definitely build your skill set, learning a lot about different properties, but your elevator pitch should reflect your goal. Like, what is your goal right now this week? What are you here for? What did you come to the RIA for? And for me, I kind of like to throw hints at what I really needed, right? What my need is. What is my ask? In some groups and some readers, they'll go around the room and they'll say, "Okay, everybody, let us know what you have of value that you can bring and what is your ask." Okay. I think those are some of the best rooms, and that's one of the best things you can do at a RIA is let everybody go around the room and kind of almost not force, they don't want to talk, can't make them talk, but give everybody the opportunity, because some people won't push to the front of the room, and give everybody the opportunity to speak and briefly and just say what they might need and what it is they're looking for and what brought them here. And when you do that, and when they call your name, like I said, just be prepared to give a very brief introduction, but give enough information and insight as to what you're looking for from the group, from the masters, from your audience, so they can see if they have anything over there to help you. So I think it's just with the way the world is moving, the world moves much faster than it did 10 years ago. I'm at least old enough to make that observation, and I'll say, people like to have their answers and know what your motive is and know what you're looking for, especially now, especially with the rate of scamming going on. So I think it's important be able to give folks as much information as possible, because the fact of the matter is you may or may not get another opportunity to speak with them or extend that conversation. So elevator pitch is important so you can grasp them.
Justin, you brought up a good point that triggered something. There are events that I attend that are poorly run because the individual that runs it, they don't have an agenda for the whole entire room. They have an agenda for themselves. And they lose sight on why they're holding these events. And they don't want other people to talk about who they are and what they do. And like I'm going to an event tomorrow night. I know that individual doesn't know how to run an event, but he gets 25 to 30 people. That's why I get there 30 minutes early. And I go up to every individual and introduce myself and give my card to them and try to get their information and find out who they are and what they do because he's a poorly run orchestrator of an event, but he does attract people. So there's different events that you have to realize, and I've gotten business out of that event as well. Funny enough, so not everybody that coordinates an event it has the intention to help others. So you have to get a little, I guess, I don't want to call it greedy, but you have to look out for yourself. But you also have to leverage people in the room in regards to the elevator pitch. Because you need to listen to somebody also. When you're giving your elevator pitch, you need to get that elevator pitch back. You need to know who they are, what they do, and what their why is to properly introduce others to them. And I'm always trying to take time to listen to hear what they do so I can then trigger in making my move and perfecting my networking skills, not to hand them off, but there's only so much to talk with somebody in a networking event before you want to talk to others. So you want to keep the whole skillet moving. You want to be doing that handoff like you're running around a track with three other people. Crafting an effective elevator pitch is essential for real estate professionals to communicate their value proposition quickly and convincingly. Know your audience, and tailoring your pitch to the person you're speaking with, whether it's a potential client, investor, partner. Understanding their needs and interests will help you tailor a message effectively. Focus on benefits. Highlight the benefits of working with you or investing in your properties or whatever the circumstances is, whether it's high returns, exceptional service, unique opportunities. Focus on what sets you apart. Keep it concise. Your pitch should be brief and to the point. Less is more. Aim for 30 to 60 seconds, highlighting the most compelling aspects of your services or properties. Start with a hook. Capture attention right away with compelling opening line. This could be a surprising fact about the market, a recent success story, or a thought-provoking question. Highlight your expertise. Showcase your knowledge and experience in the real estate market, whether it's your track record of successful deals or transactions, specialized expertise in a particular niche, or unique insights into market trends. Demonstrate why you're a trusted expert. We're in the real estate industry. None of us are doctors. We don't cure cancer. We don't do open heart surgery. Be modest, be precise, be professional. Use stories and examples. Incorporate real life examples or success stories to illustrate the value you provide. This helps make your pitch more memorable and relatable. And end with a call to action. Finish strong by prompting the listener to take action, whether it's scheduling a meeting, visiting a property, or exploring partnership opportunities. Clearly articulate next steps. Say what you do, what you say what you do. Practice and refine. Practice your pitch until it flows naturally and confidently. Solicit feedback from colleagues or mentors and refine your pitch based on their input. Remember, the goal of elevator pitch is to pique interest and start conversation. Adapt your pitch as needed based on situation feedback you receive. Now, I do probably 1 or 2 presentations a month. Are they always great? Okay, I don't know, maybe. But I try to be consistent in the subject at hand. Will it impact some or others? Will it insult some or others? Potentially. Maybe it'll strike a chord and wake somebody up. But at the end of the day, I try to provide the same consistent passion to who I am, what I do, and how I do it. Joseph, brief overview, who you are, what you do, and thoughts to the discussion. Practice your elevator pitch as a real estate pro.
Yeah, Joe. So, a lot of people and a lot of great points. Some of them I actually had and you stole just now. So, but the elevator pitch is kind of just what you do every day for us, right? Who are you? What do you do? And tell us about yourself, right? And a lot of people think, oh, 30 seconds. Oh, that's so fast. Sit with a timer and sit in silence and monitor what 30 seconds really is. And then try communicating something and see how much information can actually be sent to the other individual that's listening to you and how much you can actually say within 30 seconds. That's just the reality of it. You can transfer a lot of information verbally, and also have emotion behind it within 30 seconds. I'm sure we've all been there where you've been involved with someone who just rambles on and on and on about what they do. I used to have a cousin. Well, I have a cousin that used to be a garbage man, and all he would do is ramble on and on and on about how much garbage and tonnage he picked up, and no one really could care, right? It's a garbage man. So again, keep them, Joe. One thing that you said, right? You got to keep them wanting more, right? Why should this person talk to you again? And that's a key on that, right? All right, here's someone who is, I don't know, let's pick something up. All right, hey, I'm a real estate investor. What does that mean, right? Justin, I'll use you. You're on the stage. Hey, I'm a contractor. What does that tell me? There's many, many different contractors that are out there. Hey, I'm a contractor that specializes in roofing and I have affordable prices. Give me a call if you need anything. I give referral fees. 30-second pitch, right? And stuff like that. So keep that on your mindset on when you have to keep people intrigued. Listen, I'm a big fan of the old-fashioned business cards. The millennials will tell you, oh, you need to go digital. But no, oh, hey, take out your phone. Let me teach you how to use it. And it just continually interrupts the conversation. Hey, I'm Justin. I'm a contractor. Here's my card. I specialize in roofing. I have affordable prices and I deal with investors. And the information is transferred immediately, as opposed to, hey, let me get your phone and fumble through it. Your 30 seconds is gone. So, yeah, just some quick pointers that I have, right? I'm not a sales agent in any way, shape, or form, right? I don't sell anything, but if I had to talk to someone who was interested in selling their property or needed something from me, that's exactly how I would present it.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a disconnect that realtors think they have to start saying right off the bat in the 30-second elevator pitch they're a realtor. A realtor could easily tell, in the 30-second elevator pitch, they could go, hi, my name is Joseph V. Scarice, or I'm Joseph Scarice. I'm a connector. I'm an integrity and connector, and I have a great power team in the real estate industry. Oh, and by the way, I am a licensed real estate agent. You need to separate yourself from the herd. Now, the herd is already getting less anyway based on the economic circumstances of our industry. But what is going to separate the sheep from the savage? You got to have great energy and you have to have great enthusiasm. And you have to have great follow-up skills and you need to be confident in your initial introduction, or you might lose a potential client like a Joseph Martella that's always in buying mode in his market. So you meet Joe at his subgroup at SJI coming up, right? What's going to separate you in your 30-second elevator pitch and who you are? If you're just puking at the mouth and don't shut up, he's going to tune you out 31 seconds into the pitch, right? So Joe's no different than any other investor. Use questions also to continue the conversation. Or in your pitch, who is the perfect client for you today? Who is that perfect client for you today? Ask that question to the rest of the people in the room and let them think about that. Hey, my question to all of you, and if you'd like to come back to me after this event, who is the perfect client I can introduce to you today? And you leave it with that. Leave them with a question to come back to you. Be that connection. Be that go-between, that referral source, that inbound. You're creating inbound lead generation with a room of 25 people or 50 people or 10 people. I've been to events with 10 people in the room and I've walked out with business. And I've walked out with, I've gone in a room with thousands of people and I have walked out with no business. Right? Think about that. So you need to figure out how to perfect and practice the elevator pitch for continuous opportunities for yourself and for you, because you need to feed also your power team. Your power team should be referring business back to you. And if they're not, you need to reevaluate your power team, right? If they're not willing to make an introduction via email or via text to, to keep your lights on in your hallway, what are you doing? You need to think about that too. You got to think about when you're doing this elevator pitch, you're not just doing it for yourself, and you are actually, but you, in a sense, you need to think about how this is going to domino impact everybody around you, right? So, like this podcast, we now offer a video production of podcasting interviews with real estate professionals nationwide, right? So we're not just a one-trick pony. We offer educational tools for real estate professionals, whether licensed or non-licensed. We now offer a CE, continuing education course for licensed agents for the betterment of understanding asset-based lending, traditional lending, and hard money. And we now have a website that justifies our reason, who we are, and what our why is. And we have support by our sponsors. I don't know. That's kind of, I think that stands out. That's a 30-second elevator pitch of talking about what the creative burst strategies is all about. Oh, by the way, I'm a direct private lender, and I'm here hopefully to make connections with you to close loans, but also to make connections with my power team for you to be a better real estate professional. Was there passion behind that? Was I comfortable in what I was saying? So think about if any of this is striking a chord with you. Yeah, we're not talking about DSCR today. We're not talking about rehabbing. We're talking about personal development. Why this might be a little strained for you, because it should be. You should feel a little uncomfortable because there's obviously something that's impacting what you're thinking right now, because it's making you feel uncomfortable. That's a good thing, actually. If you feel a little uncomfortable with this discussion, it's working. If it's not making you feel a little bit uncomfortable, that means you're comfortable in your skin. You're ready to go out there and be a savage. Good morning, Linda. Welcome. Brief overview, who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion this morning. Practice your elevator. Oh, we lost Linda. She came, she went, she saw. That was pretty quick. Joe, what do you think about what I just talked about? Oh, there's Linda. Linda, you there?
Good morning. Sorry about that.
Uh,
My big fingers pressed the wrong button.
I get it.
Good morning, investors. My name is Linda Pliagas, and I'm the founder of Realty 411. Now, we're a news and information website for real estate investors. We produce magazines, we host live and virtual events, podcasts, webinars, all in an effort to help investors on their journey towards success. Now, everyone should have an elevator pitch, whether you're an agent, a broker, wholesaler, rehabber, etc. I find that the most effective pitches are the ones where you define not only what you do and who you are, but also how you can help other people as well. That'll really get their attention. So, for example, in one private lending capital class that I took, the instructor's elevator pitch was something to the effect of, "Hi, my name is Linda, and I'm a real estate investor and a licensed agent, and I help my clients gain 12 to 15% return on their capital year after year." With an elevator pitch like that, you're sure to get some interest in who you are and what you do. So my suggestion for people is to let others know in your elevator pitch how you and your company or service can help them, because after all, everybody is interested in what you can do for them and how you can help them. So this is an ideal way, not only to brag about yourself and your abilities, but also to share with others how you can help them in their journey as well. Back to you, Joseph.
Thank you, Linda. I think people really don't, real estate professionals lose sight in the communication of their personal brand and what you want them to be known for. I want to be known as a connector, a strategist. I don't know, maybe a coach, maybe a mentor. But when you start using mentor and coach, people think you want money, and I don't want to be paid. I mean, listen, I get paid for transaction closings. I don't need to get paid to coach you. You should be coaching is from an educational perspective of the knowledge of the industry of what I focus on, because I focus in lending. And I feel lending is the backbone to the entire real estate industry. And then there's real estate agency and insurance and all that other things. Because if you don't have a mortgage or some type of financial instrument, you don't really have a deal. So I think conveying unique selling points, like what Linda was discussing, is very important. You got to have that one item that sticks out, right? It's got to boom, just hit just right. And then you have to answer the questions. Tell me about yourself. What do you do? And what are you interested in doing next? I mean, you have to really think. You have to think about it. Maybe a catchy elevator pitch doesn't hurt. Introducing yourself, explaining what you do, identifying who you serve, and state what makes you different, including an exciting hook and creating a cohesive pitch. I think it's good. I think you need those pieces of the pie. And when you walk into a networking event, you should walk out with results. When I got together with my wife initially years ago, I dragged her into a networking event. She hated it. Hated it. Now she's comfortable. She's still a natural born introvert. She's not an extrovert. I'm definitely the opposite of her personality wise, but she's much more comfortable in a setting. She likes a smaller setting more than a larger setting, and it works for her. And her follow up is way different than my follow up. Her engagement with somebody is different, and it's okay. We're not supposed to be on the same engine block. Okay, if we were all on the same engine block, we'd have issues. Joe, you have something to provide?
Yeah, I wanted to know if you were giving dating advice, what your 30-second elevator pitch was to get Donna on the hook.
Hey, it's that's a whole nother discussion which we have to leave G-rated here on our podcast, Joseph. So, but again, I am very blessed with a very beautiful woman in my life, so I'm very blessed.
Yeah, something we've never done, right? And I don't know if it'll ever go, but I think someone from the audience, if they want to come and practice the elevator pitch,
Yeah,
just come up and give it now, and then let us give you some feedback and help you develop it a little bit harder.
Yeah, I mean, let's see here. I'm going to start inviting people randomly. I don't give a shit. Let's do it, right? Let's get some people up here. Let's get some people up here. Hold on. I'm gonna start picking on people, so get ready. If you're in here, you're getting invited. Don't be scared. Or invite yourself before I invite you. All right.
Come on up, man.
Let's do it. Let's do it. All right, Neil, good morning. Neil, you there? You know how to unmic? Neil's a colleague of mine I met at an event about a month or so ago. He's a licensed real estate agent up in the Lehigh Valley. And I just sent him some of the workshop tools, but I don't know if he knows how to unmic, but I invited him up. But in the meanwhile, if anybody would like to come up, I'd love to hear from you and to talk about the elevator pitch. Why not?
Thank you, Joe. Did I on mic?
Yeah, you're unmiked. You're good to go. So Neil, do you have a struggle with an elevator pitch? Are you comfortable with your elevator pitch, or would you like to give us your 30-second elevator pitch?
You just inspired me to put some thought into my elevator pitch. So that's what I'm doing right now, just writing down some notes.
Yeah, it's not about being the real estate agent. It's about being you and comfortable with you. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I mean, like last time we ran into each other, we talked, we caught up, right? And I immediately introduced you to somebody else and who you are and what you did, right?
Yes, and I appreciate that. Yeah.
So not that I didn't want to hang out with you, but I think we were there to network, not to, grab drinks and do shots, right? So I think I think people lose perspective in networking. So I hope that reintroduction, even though you knew one another, it stimulated that a further discussion.
It did 100%, and I'm enjoying the networking, and I'm happy I found your podcast here. I'm getting a lot out of it already, so I wanted to thank you for that.
I appreciate that, Neil. And thanks for stay up. If you do, you want to try a 30-second elevator pitch with us, and then we'll constructively, give insight to our thoughts to it.
Joe, maybe next time. I literally just got the idea, but I'm excited to come up with a good one, and I'd love to share it with you sometime soon.
Sounds good.
Thank you, sir.
My pleasure. So, do you know how to unmic? Do you know how to mic to hit the button again?
I'm going for it right now. Thank you again.
No problem. Timothy, good morning and welcome. Brief overview who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion this morning. Practice your elevator pitch as a real estate pro.
Good morning, Joseph. And Timothy Doyle up here, also in the greater Lehigh Valley. The owner of Steel Hill Properties. I look for tenants that are anywhere from the lower income range to the medium income range in that demographic. I try to provide solutions to those who have housing needs in an urban development community. Timothy Doyle, Steel Hill Properties, and my slogan is, remember, you can't buy it, steal it. It's a great topic, your elevator pitch. You own a business. You should have a 30-second introduction to introduce who you are, what your goal is, what you're trying to produce, and how you're trying to sell yourself as a person. In some of the ways that I have done this in the past, and sometimes I have to retool it and retweak it. So I try to revisit it every, at least once a quarter or once a year, and practice it as well. So one of the tools that I usually use to do this is something, if anyone's familiar with doing projects or running a project, is a personal SWOT analysis. SWOT is SWOT, which stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And I usually take a look at what my strengths are, and then I build my 30-second pitch around that. And that might be a helpful tool for some of the investors out there. And not only is it important to have an elevator pitch for your business, again, you're creating a relationship. If you're looking for a job, you're creating a relationship there. If you're looking to date somebody, and I have a beautiful wife now, thank you, and it's her birthday today.
Happy birthday.
So I threw her a pitch, and hey, I got her. I got the girl. Yeah, these are things that, you know, are very important, especially if you're trying to go out, create business, create a relationship. Again, your business is a relationship. You have to build your team around others who have equal strengths in those areas. So if you're pitching something to me, say you're trying to pitch flower beds to me, well, I'm not looking for flower beds, but thank you very much. I'll keep you in mind when I am looking for a flower bed. Or if it's a horrible pitch or et cetera, I might want to think twice. Doesn't mean that you're professionally probably the best at what you do and you're highly recommended due to Google ratings. It's just when we first met, there just wasn't something there. So practice it on yourself, practice it in the mirror, practice it with others. These are all things I use. And Joe, great topic this morning, and I'm hoping some others can get up here and maybe try something, or maybe we can revisit this for those who are in here to practice your elevator pitch, and maybe we can help critique it a little bit. So that's it for me. Again, Timothy Doyle, up here in the greater Lehigh Valley, part of the Lehigh Valley Investors Group up here, and owner of Steel Hill Properties. Again, if you remember, you can't buy it, steal it. Thank you very much for having me up, Joseph.
Thank you, Timothy. Tim, you run an event with Garrett Rhodes, and it's a kind of a mixed bag of age bracket at the event. Have you ever thought about putting something like this together for that kind of room? Because again, the age differences in that room is so, I mean, it starts with the 20-year-old that's wholesaling to, a 70-year-old investor that's been around the block. So have you guys thought about putting something like this together from a personal development perspective in one of your upcoming events?
Actually, Joseph, it's a great idea, and we normally do this when we when we go around the room. We give introductions of who people are. Like we have a gentleman in our title app who does our title company, our title, Matt Croft, owner of Particle Abstract. His elevator pitch is great. He's practiced it, but if I remember when we first met Matt, his elevator pitch wasn't so strong. Now it just runs through. It tells him who he is, what he does, what he's looking for, and essentially contact him. And it's very catchy. It's very good. So from a marketing perspective, that having that elevator pitch is great. Branding is important. So please, again, mention your brand in your elevator pitch if you have a company name, like mine is Steel Hill Properties. And remember, if you're afraid to go out and make a regular real estate deal, well, you can rent from me, is what it's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, very good point, Joseph. And I'll mention it to Garrett. I think it would be a very good workshop to have.
Yeah. So, I'll give you an example. With an elevator pitch, I would not start off, "Hey, I'm Joseph E. Scarice, direct private lender at Lendmark Capital." I'd start off and say, "My name is Joseph Scarice. I help real estate investors increase production transactions in the next year in buying, refinancing, acquiring, whatever I can do to help you build out your portfolio, whether you're at the beginning or you're at the 100th property." Then I go into, I'm a direct private lender. Here is my information. Let's chat afterwards. I look forward to hopefully earning your business very soon. I think that separates yourself from the herd. Irony enough, on the smaller event side, when I go to these events where you have anywhere between 10 to 50 people, I'm typically the only direct lender in the room. So I don't need to have to tout that as much as saying, "Hey, I'm here to assist and strategize with you as a real estate professional." I think that's more important. I think people feel more comfortable in knowing that I'm here to provide insight and strategy more so than I want to hit you over the head with a loan. And I think people lose sight in any part of their service and what they offer. If you're a wholesaler, you provide off-market inventory to very busy real estate investors that don't have the time to identify their next off-market deal. Also, I'm a direct wholesaler with lists of opportunities in these specific markets. I think it's a better way of, of making a better playing field. If you're in a room of true investors that are buying, you'll build a better buyers list by kind of saying, "Hey, I'm here to assist people grow their concept," right? So I think people get a little lost in the sauce with the elevator pitch because not everybody gets the opportunity to go to a Toastmasters course. Not everybody has the opportunity to go through a BNI training course to understanding how to do the 30-second elevator pitch. And I can tell you, Timothy, I know Matt learned how to perfect his craft in his 30-second elevator pitch because he went through the BNI direction. He didn't go through the Toastmasters. I went more through the Toastmasters because I had to help myself with vocabulary skills in regards to not exaggerating vowels when I spoke in presentations. So that was more important to me. Timothy?
Yep. And Joseph, actually, that's great advice. For those who, again, for those of you, it's these courses are recommended. Even you can even pick up stuff on YouTube if you really need to. But agreed. I did notice Matt's elevator pitch got a whole lot better during that time. But I agreed, especially when it comes to being able to say, like, if you're a wholesaler, for example. You focus on XYZ markets in XYZ places. So you already got your focused customers. If they're focusing on that area, you know where they're going. And if you're not getting that, I'm looking for, if you're not getting that attention from your customers there in that room, well, either you might be in the wrong room, or B, you might be focused on the wrong area. That's up to you as a business owner to determine. So your 30-second elevator pitch does control essentially everything you do in business.
You know what? You triggered something thought. Not every event is a great event. You don't have to always keep going back to the same event if it's not producing anything. I'll give you an example. There was an expo that I've done 2 years in a row. I thought maybe the first year people were just trying to get to know me. And then maybe the second year, as they see me, hey, we'll follow up, etc. No, the event sucks. I'm not going back. I mean, there's just no fish in that pond. Okay. So you need to sometimes experiment with events as well as experiment with your elevator pitch structure. Okay. So there's some components that you need to keep this in mind. What is the problem you're attempting to solve as a real estate professional, real estate investor, real estate service for others? What is the proposed solution? What is the key benefit of your solution? And then what is your product name and category? I mean, you could kind of mix that up a little bit. There's 4 components. My name is Joseph V. Screese. I'm with Lenmark Capital. I'm here to solve your financing issues with your next investment acquisition or refinance. What's your proposed solution is we find options, whether short or long term. Key benefit of the solution. The benefit is we're going to help you build, grow, and strategize your real estate portfolio. This is Joseph V. Scarice at Lenmark Capital. My phone number is 215-290-5108. So again, that's all done in 30 seconds. So again, component 1, component 2, component 3, component 4, your product name and category. Component 2, the problem you're attempting to solve. Component 3, your proposed solution. And component 4, what is the key benefit of your solutions? Timothy, your feedback?
All right, Joseph, one more thing, but you brought that up too. Identifying the problem is number 1. Knowing your audience as well. So those are just things I wanted to add in there. But Joseph, yeah, that structure is 100% dead on.
There's no perfect event. There's no perfect 30-second elevator pitch. All you can do is keep trying and perfecting your craft. Listen, has every one of our podcasts been great? No. Okay, but we're very consistent and continuous. We talked about this yesterday on the social media discussion. If you're not consistent in feeding that garden, it's not going to grow. If you're not feeding on perfecting who you are, what you do, and your why, in a 30-second elevator pitch at networking events, which is the primary backbone to meeting and greeting people, you will fail. I like success stories. I don't want failure stories. Outline the goal of that elevator pitch. You want to start by identifying the goal you're trying to achieve with your elevator pitch. How to introduce yourself, explain what you do. Practice, practice, practice. Don't forget to follow up too. Connecting on LinkedIn, sending that email. Listen, even if they don't send you an email, you sent an email. If they don't respond, that's okay. Put them in your drip. When they see you again, oh yeah, thank you for that email, blah, blah, blah. I was so busy, blah, blah, blah. Listen, busy people, you want to be the busy person that follows up and follows through. Say what you do and do what you say. These are very key components. It has to do with your social media strategy. It has to do with your elevator pitch. It has to do with your networking skills. You need to be prepared and be ready to deliver. Keep it simple, clear, and concise. Few strong sentences, summarize your product, your service, stand out from the crowd. Put yourself in the listener's shoes, adapting your speech. Be ready to answer some tough questions. Linda, some follow-up thoughts to our discussion. Practice your elevator pitch as a real estate pro. Linda, are you there? Linda, going on?
Yes, I am here. I am here, Joseph.
Sure.
Yes, well, like I said, try and not only encompass what you do in your elevator pitch, but people are always interested in how you can help them. So if you're going to a real estate event, figure out how you can help people and add that in your elevator pitch. If you're going to an educational, event, put in your elevator pitch how you're constantly upgrading your educational skills, how you're, currently attending a boot camp or just attended a boot camp or you just took a course to help you. Always try and put information into your elevator pitch that pertains to the event that you're attending because the event itself is a way to unify people. So that's what my comment is and my suggestions. Thank you so much, Joseph.
Thank you, Linda. And I'll use a great example. Yesterday, there was a fundraiser for MS that a real estate agent was holding in Delaware. I've been connected with the gentleman, I don't know, he's a young gentleman, by the way, maybe since during COVID. I actually interviewed him on my podcast at the time. Yurdell and I had another podcast at that time, and I interviewed him and another individual, and he's progressed as a real estate agent. He's an investor, wholesaler, agent, and he has this annual event. And he always likes my posts. We've made comments to one another, but we never actually formally met other than on the video podcast. I took the initiative to go down there and one, donate to the event itself, but two, go up there and personally meet him and say, hey man, you're doing a great job with this event. I'm very impressed. If I could be of any assistance. And he was so happy to see me, right? He's like, oh my gosh, we were on that podcast together. We never really got to meet. We kind of crossed paths, but never talked. And we had a great 5-minute conversation. But you know what? I made sure I sent him an email when I got back, congratulating him on his successful event, thanking him for the time he took to say hello to me. And if there's anything I could do to help him progress what his goals are, whether on the voluntary side or the real estate side, I'm here to hopefully be part of his future on Power Team. And hey, if I don't get a response back, I did the right thing. And he wanted to do a podcast with me, and I'm like, okay, that's great. That's scheduled. So I put it back in his basket. but you need to be able to be that real estate professional that provides a very unique value proposition. Your elevator pitch should be clear and very clear in the communication and unique value to your product, your service, or idea that you provide. The most important aspect of the pitch as what makes it stand out from the rest of the herd. I don't call it competition, because really the only competition you have, anybody listening down below, is the mirror in front of you. That's it. Justin, your thoughts and outro for the practice your elevator pitch as a real estate pro.
Yeah. Great points today for sure. And I'll say this: a good elevator pitch can also be a good filter in a room, such as a or a meetup or whatever the case may be. If you're in there looking for some specific things and you wanted to filter out some of the things that you may have run into in the past that you're trying to avoid again too. And if you're looking for a specific type of lender, a good elevator pitch for a need or for a want or for what you provide, like such as yourself, Joe, if you're a private lender, you want to let people know that, and hopefully they'll catch on to the fact that you're not the other type of lenders.
Mm-hmm.
And so those are my thoughts. Man, this great topic this morning, and enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. Some steps that, again, I try to re-emphasize this again. This is a craft for a great pitch in the elevator pitch, right? Identify your goal, explain what you do. Communication needs to be clear. Engage with a question, put it all together, and practice. Joseph, your final thoughts to practicing your elevator pitch as a real estate pro.
Joe, great value, great room, great topic. You've come across with some really good education for folks. No, it's really good stuff, right? People don't want to hear a rambler, right? We all don't want to hear ramblers, right? You think of that someone that just rambles on and you just turn off, right? And you stop listening, you don't remember anything. But no, really good stuff. There should be workshops on this. I know you mentioned that there's Toastmasters. Join your local, not RIA, but Toastmasters and any other folks that help you with developing that sales pitch to get you where you need to be. Everybody needs to have one if you really want to be serious about it. But no, really good stuff. So thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe. And listen, I'm not knocking the RIAs, because one RIA is not. I mean, they're all kind of the same to me. They get nervous in discussing personal development because they think they have to bring a coach in for personal development. No, you need somebody that's confident and passionate about what they do. Okay, it doesn't always have to be a coach selling a coaching program. Okay, nobody wakes up with they're not everybody is born an extrovert, right? So there's steps of putting this together in giving a little background of who you are, giving some context to your story, making the connection, but also a call to action. If you're a service provider, where is your call to action in your elevator pitch? Right? I go to many events. I've been on many clubhouse rooms, and some of it just, I gotta tune out because nobody's getting to the point. You need to be able to grab attention in your pitch. You need to be able to project something that's important quickly, or you're going to lose the engagement of everyone in the room. So these are some of my final thoughts. I want to thank everybody for their engagement today. I want to thank our sponsors, of course, always. I would like to thank Perkatech, Yardell Perkins, our social media strategist. I'd like to thank MB Capital, your unsecured business line of credit referral program. Lenmark Capital, your asset-based nationwide direct private lender, as well as Realty 4-in-1 with Linda Plagas in regards to her national publication, as well as national events throughout the country. We are the only room in Clubhouse that offers a website domain with all of our downloadable podcasts. We are the only Clubhouse room that has a podcast on every social media channel available that we can get it out there on. We're the only we're the only Clubhouse room that provides educational worksheets for the betterment of real estate agents, services, and investors. And yet we are the only the Clubhouse room that offers CE for licensed real estate agents, not nationwide, 3 credits on navigating asset-based lending and understanding the differences in today's market on traditional lending versus asset-based lending versus hard money. And we're here every Saturday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, every Sunday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I love to finish off with a quote. Love is nothing without action. Trust is nothing without proof. And sorry is nothing without change. Everybody have a blessed Sunday morning. Please take care of yourself. Have a great week. If anybody has any questions, if I could be of any assistance, please reach out to me. And I'll be ending the room in the next 30 seconds.
Bye, Donna.
She said bye from upstairs.